Hey Wanderers, and thanks for listening to this arc of Wanderlust. In 2 weeks, we'll start another arc of Corsairs of Castile, our 7th Sea actual play. If you enjoyed this arc, we encourage you to leave a review wherever you find your podcasts. Until next time, keep wandering. Last time on Wanderlust. I think it's maybe time that you were controlled and contained. Estelle, you have the, immediate sense of, oh, I'm in a trap. Very much. There is stuff in front of me moving, not a lot behind me. This is very bad.
I see how far down it goes because I see it land and then I see it sink.
And then you don't hear it impact.
Cool. Can I hook it onto the statue so that we can use it as a thing to slide down?
You look up and see the, goat-faced creature looking down at all of you, swinging from this rope, and she holds up her hand and, clicks it, and big scissory fingers stick out. And she just cuts the rope, and all of you fall into the pit.
Oh no!
TPK.
Alright, well, I think we follow the water.
I want to use one of my fate points to touch base with Matthew.
Oh,
please.
Okay. He has a goal and is in immediate danger that he is aware of and pressing through.
We need to finish up whatever this is, because something's going on back up in town.
How could you possibly know that? We don't have radios down here. I already told you, we can't reach Smoky Banks. I've tried.
Who are you talking to in Smoky Banks?
There's only so many people that have radios.
Alright.
But you do all notice a just visible, kind of at the edge of your vision, you see a shaft of light coming down and hitting a tree in the middle of this pool.
Okay, well that seems significant.
Can I try to see if the radio works in the light since there's a clear line up to the sunlight?
Okay, I like that, so I'm gonna give you a little bit, but not a ton, and for reasons that you'll see, but I do like that point.
Well, I know you're working with Lance.
And working with Lance is generous.
Yeah, we know. You're probably working for him.
Yeah, instead of letting you get killed by Smoky Banks, yes, I did, in fact, force a re-election of our government. Let's put it that way.
What does it mean? You said you've always been a dick. Why would I expect—
I don't know. Why didn't you kill the monster in the cage? How am I getting a worse deal than that thing?
I turn off the radio. No good deed goes unpunished, I guess.
I have found that to be the case. High above the dark cave that all of you have found yourselves in, Smoky Banks sits again, this is now 2 nights after you guys have left. It is calm at the moment, but there are fires, there's smoke trailing up from a few buildings as people move around, beginning to try to collect themselves after a battle. Further down in the village of the Stone Frogs, the center of their town is collapsing down into a pit that they know is full of nightmarish beings that they were isolated from for their own safety. There is fear and exhilaration and a brief image of a smoking gun. Further down than that, artists sit, staring up, plotting their assault on the world above that they have been isolated from for so long. And all the way down, at the very base of this system of caverns, all of you stand around a tree and have just heard a voice echoing from the chamber around you that said, in their experience, good deeds do get punished. What do all of you do?
Turn around and try to find the voice.
Hello? Who's there?
Fred reaches to pull out his axe and realizes it's not there.
Oh yeah, you gave that up, didn't you?
Did give that up.
As you all look around into the darkness and say and speak into this huge void, your words seem so deadened and so small. The only light down here comes from that small shaft of light that's coming down and hitting this tree. But all around you, you can suddenly hear like a roaring, rushing sound, like stones sliding over each other. And kind of visible just as like ripples of reflection on stone, you see the walls spinning and constricting around you. Wind picking up in like a circle around you, the water under you being pulled away as something moves in closer. And there's this horrible grinding, spinning noise as coils constrict around you.
I think I would go stand by the tree. It's small, right? It's not big.
Stunted and
Okay.
old.
Okay. Hello? What's your name? I'm Juliet.
You say that again out into this void. You can tell now your voice is traveling less far as it almost echoes around you. And slowly parting the water, like pushing up a bubble of water as it slides through the ground and towards you. A massive face of a worm comes sliding towards you.
When you say worm, you're doing like WYRM.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
about to start. I'm about to start describing.
Okay.
Yeah, like not specifically a lizardy dragon is the point of saying worm in this case. Not like straight up dragon face. Its mouth, as it kind of like churns through the water, is a 4 like billed jaw that you can see rows of sharp teeth on. Its eyes are deep sunk and forward facing, glowing with a luminous green light. The rest of it is non-distinct but shrouded in layers and layers and layers of stone as it slides up quietly, in spite of all of the rushing around you, and rears up, towering above you, towering above the tree, looking down on all of you. When it speaks, its voice comes from this horrible mouth that you don't feel like should be able to make these noises.
What are all of you doing down here?
As it speaks, the sound of its body spiraling in the chamber is still like echoing and reverberating.
We're trying to get back to the surface. I think I've met you before in my dream, but it's good to meet you in person.
The eyes narrow in a face that is far too expressive for this size.
Do you believe it is good that we have met?
Do you disagree?
You asked who I was. I am the Lord of all that is below in these caves, and I believe you have rather ruined what I have attempted to create here.
And what was that?
Safety. In spite of it all.
And as he speaks again, there's like an echoing as the chamber itself quivers. A few rocks fall, and you see, without even almost thinking, this chitinous stone body moving to cover the tree as rocks break on it and fall around it.
What did you want to be safe from?
Almost certainly what you wish to be safe from. Years uncountable ago, my people and I were trapped here, and I failed. Failed to keep them safe, failed to keep them from losing their humanity, and was cursed. I dug as best I could. I made a place as safe as I could. I tried to isolate away ones that meant violence, and failed.
What makes you say that?
The mouth kind of droops, and the eyes go a little bit deader.
You've been through my kingdom, coming down to see me. The kingdom that I built, the last thing I could do for my people. What is your review? Do you find it to be a prosperous place?
It's not what I would consider ideal. I also... do you think it's the end for them? I would hope not.
That is a fascinating question. Maybe one that requires an answer from all of you. What do you wish? I do not want my people to harm yours. That feels wrong of me to allow. It is my failure that has created a group of people capable of madness and violence for the sake of defending odd statues. They now can reach your kingdom, lands, whatever you wish to call it. What am I to do with my people? How are we to be prosperous neighbors?
The face gets very close to all of you. The air coming from it, just in the movement of its lungs to speak, is palpable. You can feel it ruffling your hair and almost making you stagger. Not necessarily foul smelling, but overwhelming.
Are you able to cave in the entrance again? Between the artists and the ones above them?
I could cut through stone like butter. I could tear the caverns to pieces. I could dig new ones. I could come to the surface and wreak havoc on everything in my path. And yet I don't think any of it would save my people. I'm content to stay here and protect the last reminder of what we used to be. Certainly, I could separate them again. I could cave in the entrances and hide down here for another millennia of millennias until someone else ripped back the rocks and found their way down. But I'm unsure if it's what I should do.
But isn't that the problem? You call this your domain and your people, but you haven't led these people in a millennia. They view you as maybe a god? And maybe a story even higher up?
I prefer that. When we last were intimately acquainted, I was not well loved. I was a failure.
Well, I think you failed. I don't think you were a failure until you hid away and didn't rise again.
So, real quick, does this voice seem familiar to Fred?
Make me some kind of insightful check on, like, a knowledge of stuff.
Okay, insight.
If you have literally insight, absolutely.
That is a 2.
Yeah, so you could piece together at least a little bit that this is probably the person who, like, you had that meeting with that had that statue delivered that kind of that started this whole thing.
I failed, definitively failed. When digging my people underground was the best way that I could find to save them. They don't need leadership. They need to give up. As far as I'm concerned, I tried to lead. I led for weeks, turning into months of starvation and pain and death. as we tried to survive in a land that we did not know and failed.
Sorry, can I ask what you did to try and survive? Because what we're trying to do right now is figure out how to not hide underneath the surface. I don't necessarily think that was the wrong thing for you all to do at the time, but that's why we're down here, is we're trying to survive up there ourselves and learn anything we can to do it, to survive.
This creature's face looks at you haunted. Almost human expressions reading on an otherwise totally unfamiliar visage. Get when you're writing or describing things, sometimes you gotta use words that are not your first choice because you can't use the word face 15 times. Anyways, digression.
The only advice I can give, I should have let us die. I should have not done this. I should have let us charge blindly into battle to be devoured by creatures with fangs made of stone. I should have let people try to sow seeds in vain until they worked their fingers to the bone and dropped from starvation and weakness. I should have done anything but this, but I was a coward.
Did you ask for help?
From who? You were not present yet. I found nothing that could speak.
But did you ask for the people in your town? Or did you just try to shoulder the whole burden on yourself because you were the leader, and then you failed and said, well, we all should have died instead because I couldn't figure it out myself? And then you hid in a hole because you didn't want to face your failure.
I think maybe what is difficult to express is not the vanity of leadership, but the responsibility. I had every wise man who worked for me trying to beg the stars to get us back home. I had every farmer trying to plant seeds. I had every warrior trying to keep them safe. Some fell to madness, most were killed by creatures, some starved. I did not try to do all of these actions by myself. Being the leader of them does not mean that that was solely my responsibility or my expertise. It meant that ultimately, I was the one to blame for our group's failure. I get to own that. I don't blame my peasants for not being able to farm. I don't blame my warriors for not being able to fight. I don't blame my wise men for not knowing how to return us home. I blame myself. You could say all of us failed minorly. Ultimately, it is my failure.
So why haven't you given up? You're still here.
For the same reason that I buried my people and spend my life obsessing over a tree. I would rather guard what memory I have of what we once were than watch all of us die.
As he says that, rocks break and fall again and again. There's like that instinctive like lunging over the tree as rocks break over his body and fall around him.
What is this tree?
The last thing from my home that lives as it was. Unmarred, unchanged, uncorrupted.
Are you connected to it?
I don't know. I don't know what would happen if a rock fell on the tree. I don't know what would happen if I stopped protecting it.
Juliet reaches out and touches the tree. Just like puts her hand on it.
Do you want to spend a fate point and use your ability, or do you want to make a roll?
What would the roll be?
So you're trying to biologically determine something about a tree, or you can use magic to determine the pattern of the tree. One of those spends a fate point and is a guaranteed success. One of those is a roll of a skill. Are you not trying to intuit anything by touching the tree?
I was trying to see if he's connected to it the way Maul is connected to her tree.
Oh, I see. So you're trying to see if you poke it, if literally he would go, ow.
I'm not trying to poke it. Specifically not, but yes.
I understand. I get what you mean, though. But you're trying to see if there is, like, a sensory connection to it.
Yes, yeah. And then maybe I'll roll for the pattern thing.
I think make me a roll either way. Like, let's just start with a roll, see how you do, and see what you get from that. Because there is multiple things to be learned here.
Okay. What am I rolling?
Knowledge of biology would work in this case.
Plant identification? Is that close enough?
Yeah, I mean, like, you're literally a biologist, right? Like, this is
Yeah.
plant-based biology. It's kind of your whole jam.
+5.
Okay. As you touch the tree, it is not that there is an immediate reaction like you saw with Maul, where when you touched
Right, yeah.
the tree, Maul was like, oh, I feel that, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's that immediately those eyes that have always been... There is danger here, right? Like, this is a large predatory animal. Everything about the way its body and face looks screams to you, predator that will eat me. When you touch the tree, it gets real close and, like, not immediately aggressive, but there is instantly that, like, swelling to defend, like, cover, get real near it, as the eyes, like, burn as they look at you, and Autumn, like, your face immediately gets that raccoon tree bark of, oh, something means me danger here.
I think I might spend a fate point to figure out what it is.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and spend that fate point.
No, I was joking.
No, your ability is not to know who's in danger, it's to know what the person who you are in danger from is thinking.
Oh, well, I don't have that. I don't have a fate point, to spend.
Okay, well, then no, you can't.
I want to now, but,
So I think Juliet just, like, runs her hand really slowly. Like when you're, like, trying to calm a horse,
Sure, yeah. It does not have that effect. If anything, the opposite.
Okay. She takes her hand back. So you don't... Did you feel that?
What thing do you care about most in this entire world? That's maybe a harder question than it would seem. For many of us, maybe there's a list. I used to have one. My wife, my children, my kingdom, my sword, my horse. If we're being honest with each other, I was rather fond of a good meal. Misery does give the advantage of focus on what matters to me. So I'll ask again. What matters to you most in the world?
I would say the people I love.
It's a good answer. Can you feel them?
You mean, like, metaphorically?
If I was to crush one of them right now, would you feel it?
I think I get what you mean. Yes, I think I would.
I feel the truth.
Because it's your home.
It's the memory of my home. The last memory of my home.
Is it, though? You have dozens upon dozens of subjects, and they're different, yes. I don't want to pretend that no change has happened to them, but I'm different from when I first came to our kingdom, dramatically. I don't even know if I'd call myself the same person, but I'm still a memory of there, a person from there. Just because we change and grow and look different than when we started doesn't mean we're not part of that anymore. A tree puts down roots. That doesn't mean it becomes less a part of something as it grows and changes in that place. And if the memory of your kingdom is so important to you, why is not rebuilding and saving that memory? Because how better to preserve a memory than to continue its legacy instead of being forgotten down here alone.
I take it from all of you that you have recently arrived in this rather odd place.
Right, yes.
You have my sympathy. Allow me to put my answer like this. I have no issue with you existing here, necessarily. However, the one thing that I will not allow threats to is this tree. We do have an immediate issue of what would you like me to do with my subjects? Those less than savory memories of what my kingdom used to be. I do not like the idea of besetting the artists from my kingdom on you and taking no responsibility for it. Similarly, the peasants as they are or were also could potentially present an issue. I leave it in your hands how I am to proceed with that. In terms of the memory, or of what my kingdom could be, I maybe ask you this. What would you give up to not be here anymore? I don't think there is anything that you can give to get back to whatever you used to have. I gave everything I could, and very much found myself trapped here. So, it's a reasonable question. How much would you burn in the attempt to return home? I eventually found my limit.
I don't know if this is something that is a corruption to be burned out, and if that's the key to getting home. I don't know if ignoring the changes and trying to cut them out of us is how we get back. And this is scary and hard and difficult, but that doesn't mean that it is bad or malicious or that we shouldn't grow and change.
I don't know how many months it was before I buried everything I loved under the earth in an attempt to keep it safe. And I hope that your home fares better than mine. However, certainly it is not a guarantee, and it is not going to be safe or pleasant either way. Returning to the question I asked originally, what would you like me to do with my subjects?
Well, I think if there is a possibility of keeping any of them that would wish harm upon our home from attacking, that would be preferable. If there are any of your subjects who are interested in coming to the surface, maybe give us a little bit of time to talk to the people up top, but I don't think that should be a problem. Your people were very kind when we were in their space, in their town, and we would certainly be able to return that hospitality.
I will bury the artists again, as is your wish, and I will not disturb the village that you found when you first came down into my tunnels. If you wish to speak to them, fine. If they wish to leave, fine. Their deaths will be on your hands, not on mine.
Are you just going to stay down here?
Do you wish me to return to the surface? I will say, I was not kidding when I said I believe I could destroy and rip and mutilate much of the world. I'm not so vain as to think I could never be stopped. But if you wished something removed, I could be helpful in that way. As you said, you did do a kindness to my people.
I don't want that. I just want you to I don't want you to feel like you have to live in your failure forever. You also can grow and change. But if you are intent on staying down here, and I'm not trying to say that take that choice away from you, may I have a seed from your tree?
Ooh, make me some kind of, like, convince a person roll.
Empathy? This feels like empathy.
Empathy works, yeah. Yeah, empathy works here. I'll give you empathy for this.
Cool boy. That was good. Ish. That's a 4.
Gotcha. What are your, like, what are your characters' like drawbacks, hindrances?
Oof, I think it's I don't know anything about the world, but I don't know if that's still true. Give me a second to like look up my character sheet real quick.
Yeah, that's about the type of game that I run. Character sheet's optional. Zach, 2 weeks ago, Cody, you need to give more fate points when we play into our character's flaws. Cody, what's your character's flaws? I don't actually know the answer to that.
I think it was like she has a love of adventure and no knowledge of adventure. Was like kind of like her things.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'll let this pass.
You may take a seat. I am unsure how I feel about the potential for it to grow in a different place for other people. However, let me give it to you with a piece of advice. Leadership is a vain thing that is accurate. It is a activity of those that think themselves better at times, certainly. But the requirements of it, the responsibility of it, can be crushing if you let them be. I'm not choosing to stay down here because it is the most comfortable for me. I'm choosing to be down here because I feel like my failure deserves punishment, because I feel like my failure deserves to be remembered, and I feel that way because I was the one who ultimately was responsible for trying to be better. It's not because I tried to do everything myself, although maybe I'm a little guilty of that too. So just remember, it's not just the vanity of leadership that inspires people to do horrible things, make hard choices, and wallow in the self-loathing that comes from those going poorly. But yes, take a seed, and maybe try to remember that before you end up like me.
I appreciate the advice, and regardless of how you feel about yourself and what happened, you deserve to be remembered in spite of your failures.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
How is Lance dealing with this?
That is a good question. Do you want to talk? You can talk to him if you want. Do you want to make some kind of perception check, Estelle?
Yes.
Okay. What are you looking for here?
I think what I'm looking for is, so he's mentioning a lot of things that I get the feeling that Lance's society is a little closer to what is going on with this Lord's people, their kingdom. I get that it seems like they're probably much closer to that breaking point. What I want to know is, because I don't perceive Lance to be a particularly passive person.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how, I want to see if he is like about to react very negatively, if he's about to take any kind of action. I know he doesn't have any like weapons, but I'm like, I gotta imagine this is not what he wants to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if like I can see the wheels turning in his head for what to do when we get back up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. Make that roll.
Inquisitive or danger sense?
I'll give you danger sense on this one.
All Already not a good start. Alright, +2.
This is an extremely intelligent creature that could destroy Smoky Banks as easily as thinking. That's dangerous. It can talk to Lance.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Not that Lance is making a face that says he's like, I'm about to do a whole bunch of murders, but, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anything else anyone else wants to do?
Well, I guess ask how best to get back to the surface.
You can just ask that if you want. You can do that in character.
Okay. We're gonna head back to the surface now. What's the best way to do that from here?
Be an infinitely long worm dragon made of stone.
It's a good joke.
I must go and collapse a tunnel, seemingly, and quell my rowdier subjects and remind them that they were isolated for a reason. So I can carry you as far as the village in that end and collapse the entrance behind me.
That would be very helpful.
I am always glad to help. And if you ever need help, you know where I am. And I have very good hearing. And I feel much of what happens in my domain.
What should we call you?
I am the Lord. I do not remember my name.
Would you like one?
No.
Hang on. Do I remember his name?
Shoot, you probably would, but I don't know if I said it. Does anyone remember if I said a name?
I don't think you did.
I don't remember.
Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna give you a name, Vinny, because I like that question. Hang on a second. Like, kind of in my head, this thing was always like this weird nameless creature that's existed for like basically ever. But I also, like, reasonably, you have a way that you could have learned it. And I do rather like that, so we're going for it. Hang on. Freaking name generators are hilarious. Can we just agree on that for a second? Yeah, we're going with Ash. His name was Ash.
Lord Ash.
Very few people ever called him it, but maybe his one remaining friend and advisor did before he died.
I'm excited for the Pokemon 2000s level of prophecy where the world will turn to ash.
And I will say you can do with that information what you will.
So it's a bit weird how I know this, but I think you were once called Ash. Does that seem familiar?
When you say that, more than when Juliet touched the tree, more than when Autumn was kind of being like, look, you deserve to be remembered. This is something you want. Like, the inside baseball here is like, this is a creature that really wants to be down here forgotten in a way. Like, a creature that believes their shame is deserved fully, right? It isn't a like, oh, like, I failed and I feel bad about myself. It's like, I failed and it is my responsibility now to be the person that remembers that failure because nothing else can and nothing else deserves to, right? You say that name and you can see it's been stabbed. The body of this thing like recoils and twitches, its eyes growing wide as if floodgates have opened in its mind as to like remembering that life that it once had. That name sparked all of this stuff in its mind that it used to have. And I'll say probably aided by the fact that literally your supernatural ability is like recalling memories of home and hearth, hence the name of your ability. And like just saying that line snaps that like, I remember this now. I remember this thing. And as it recoils, it looks at you, eyes not angry, but sad. And you just hear it whisper, no longer in a booming, monstrous voice, but in that of a man's, I must see. It recoils away, swirling through the darkness, that echoing sound of tearing stone, growing deafeningly loud again, and then fading as it pours away, and you see like a long, infinitely coiling body sliding away into the darkness. and away from all of you. Did you know it was going to do that? Like, when you just said its name, did you, like, know that it was going to freak out and run away? Because I think that was our only way out of here.
No, I didn't know I was going to do that. I was just trying to remind it and help, I don't know, bring the memory back. I thought it would help.
You know, Fred, I gotta say, if there's a place for a world-ending monster to stay, down here guarding nothing but a tree, actually, for me, I'm cool with. I don't know why all of you insist on rocking boats. I'm glad you got a seed, though. Cool.
This is big talk coming from someone who completely rocked the boat of our town.
Yeah, I did, because I can, like, grasp... You
can only grasp things that are good for you, Lance. And I don't...
And bad for me, in a quantifiable way.
Okay. Look, we have to get back up. I said earlier, there's stuff going on up there. We need to get back up to the surface. So the question is, do we try and find some way out through the water bit, or do we follow where he went and hope it takes us to the surface?
I think we follow the trail.
Okay. Any objections?
Nope.
Lance just grumbles, just like sitting there like kicking the water, like freaking never heard the expression sleeping dragons lie. Why don't you just tell him he sucks to his face?
Lead the way, Estelle.
Do you want to wait around and tell him that when he comes back, Lance? Feel free.
I would like to... I don't want to tell him anything. He's a giant world-ending monster worm. I would rather tell him nothing. He can tell me things.
I think I have Guffy go, like, a little bit ahead of us. Like, not enough that he disappears, but enough that, like, he's, like, sniffing ahead and has a little bit more of, like, alertness than we do.
I'll say, like, Guffy got the scent and is, like, that is a very large stick to chase and is just kind of, like, bounding off through the water, sort of, like, swim running, as a big dog does. And you all start making your way back out of this darkness.
I would like to bring up the rear. I want to talk to Lance.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So as, you know, everyone's kind of moving ahead, Estelle hangs back a bit, and turns to Lance. Okay. Can I ask you what you spoke to Matthew about in terms of moving around the council?
Do you mean to say exactly what was the nature of the help that I provided Matthew with and what the deal that was made for that help was?
Yes, if there was a deal.
There was, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a bad one, so you can relax a little, kind of.
Oh, I will say, right off the bat, I'm not here to argue with you and shoot you down.
Oh, well, I guess you're not on the council, so... Unless you're gonna murder me down here, which I think if you were going to, that moment's past.
Lance, I'm the one who kept them from murdering you the first time we met you.
That's true, isn't it? I appreciate that.
I have no intention of doing anything like that. So I'm just curious, what was the deal?
No, that's fine. It's maybe requires a hair of explanation. I'm guessing maybe you, and definitely some of your friends, consider me to be a senselessly cruel person. That's got a ring of truth to it, but I'll give this as an explanation. I think that Matthew and whatever people would fight with him probably could have seized your town basically anywhere in the last 3 months that you've been here, would be my assumption. You know, he was kind of in charge of the only people willing to fight and capable of fighting. The thing about fights are, actually, the more tilted and one-sided they are, the much better they go. A bad fight is one where the two sides are equal. That's a bad fight. A good fight is where one side decisively and quickly wins.
Mm-hmm.
I provided him with the ability to quickly and decisively win. The result of that is food. I need food. And I need to not hunt for all the food that I get.
Did he approach you, or did you approach him?
I didn't exactly approach him. Well, you know, between you and me, Willow had a radio. I had a radio. I've had a radio here for 3 months that you guys have been here. So
have you been talking to them for 3 months?
Yeah. Well, kind of. I mean, we weren't neither of us, shockingly, when Willow heard a random voice speaking out of the nothingness to her. She did not immediately assume it was a friend, but also did not immediately assume it was me. So that took some time to gather trust and commiserate over our shared issues. So, food for weapons and expertise.
Got it. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I actually don't think you're fully senselessly cruel. I understand a lot of the decisions that you've made, even if I wouldn't have made them. I get it. And with that, it seems like we are all going to be here for now, for a while, I don't know. And so other than the deal with Matthew, I think it might be worth it to continue keeping the lines of communication open between you and your town and our town. And, you know, with more than just one of us trying to survive out here, we might actually be able to survive.
Frankly, what I think is this. I think that if you knew where all of the remainder of my people lived, you could come back here and ask this creature to remove it from the map. And I think it would. And I also think I could come down here and ask them to ask him to destroy Smoky Banks.
You know, I will say, I'm glad that we at least are aware that that is something the other one could do. Just because I don't want that to happen, but I think it's saying something that we are on the same page of knowing that that is a danger that could happen. And that is why I would like to reach out my hand right now across the aisle and see if there is some kind of peace deal, something that could keep both of our places from being completely torn apart and destroyed.
Deal, as far as I see it, is simple. Matthew lives up to his end of the bargain. I lived up to my end of the bargain.
That's it? And then we're just going to go our separate ways?
No. You're going to provide me with food.
Yeah, we are.
So, I wouldn't say separate ways. You'll see me pretty frequently as I come and collect food. I'm sure at some point we'll talk again. Maybe we'll trade. Maybe we'll become best friends. But that all comes with the caveat of, if at any point any of you decide, oh, you know, we don't like Lance, we wish Lance wasn't around, we don't like the way he's behaving, and you do something against me or my people, I'll come down here and I'll tell a giant world-ending worm to remove Smoky Banks from existence. And I'm guessing if I did that, then you would probably come down here and tell that worm to remove my town from existence. So let's hopefully not come to that point.
No, I agree. I think that is a point that we can both stay away from.
Yep. So I'm going to say this is a moment where I'm going to apologize to the rest of the podcast because it's just going to be like the Estelle time for right now. Because there's this, like a scene for Estelle that I had planned that she sort of friggin' went over my helmet on with that. So sorry. As you finish that conversation, Lance kind of trots away with his group of people, and Mitchell walks up behind you and slips his hand into yours. I didn't see this coming. I'll say definitely in all of my, like, I can kind of, like, read the past and how it affects the future. I did not know that there was a weird stone-eating worm under Smoky Banks. That I did not see coming.
Okay, good. So there's limits to the amount of pure negativity that you can see.
No, I mean, I don't think of myself as limited because I believe in time I would have worked out that there was a giant worm under Smoky Banks. I just think I needed more time to really wallow in it, you know? And you didn't allow me enough wallow time. No. I think that's what I'm going to blame it on.
Good. Okay. Love that.
I do too. I do actually really appreciate that you didn't allow me enough wallow time to imagine a world where there was a giant town-eating worm under the town. The depths of paranoia is what I'm saying would have been really impressive to get to the point where I was imagining supernaturally gigantic town-eating worm under the town, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if we would have come down here if that was something that you could have foreseen.
Yeah, it would have, I might have just kind of for, honestly, the sake of seeing it at this point.
Do you ever find it exhausting?
To be me?
Just the paranoia. Like, maybe I'm wrong, you know? We've only been back for what? I don't know, 6 or 9 months, something like that. I feel like the paranoia's gotten worse.
You know, it's funny, it has. And do I ever get tired of it? No, I don't get tired of it, but it is an ever-present thing, maybe is the right way to put it. And it's hard not to when so many things confirm the paranoia. But you know what honestly does make me feel like a tiny bit better? And this is like a weird way to put it, but it's true. Like, really, how much can the paranoia matter when what's under here is as bad as it is? Like, how much can I reasonably plan for something to go wrong, given the scale of what can go wrong?
You know, maybe that can help shift into slightly less paranoia, because honestly, with all of this, I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to take.
Of me being paranoid?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hopefully I can still dabble in paranoia. It's like one of 4 hobbies.
Yeah, but it's exhausting. I don't know how you do it, because dealing with, I hate the fact that it's almost necessary because you're right, and trying to be the opposite is exhausting.
I don't think you have to be the opposite, and I certainly am not always right. I think sometimes I am, and
No, but you definitely seem to be right on all of this with Smoky Banks, because I don't... Mitchell, I don't want Smoky Banks to change. I know that it has to. That's what this entire thing has been, is that we're gonna have to change things and fix things, and literally there's no way to go back unless somehow we magically got back to where we were, you know, prior. But so we've already had to deal with so much that it's like going back to the quiet little sleepy town that it was is near impossible. But I miss that. I was excited to move here. I was excited to just like help people with the vet thing, and then like occasionally go out in the wild and deal with the animals that are out there. This is exhausting.
Mitchell kind of smiles and goes, I feel like this is where I'm the opposite, right? Because I've been like the naysayer of Smoky Banks for so long that honestly now it's kind of refreshing to be like, yeah, finally. Do you know how many times I've complained at and about the council? To have them be removed is honestly a little bit cathartic for me. And as much as I do love sleepy, quiet little Smoky Banks, I've also always been the crazy guy who's like, this is not a sleepy, quiet little town. People are going missing so much more than they should. So it's nice to see people taking that seriously and like moving forward with it instead of just ignoring it fully.
Well, I mean, I don't think we can ignore it fully at this point.
No, and I also don't think that you would want to just be a sleepy veterinarian in a little town when that little town is in danger.
Not when it's in danger, but I would love... I would honestly love to be in a sleepy little town after everything we've been through.
Well, how about this? I promise when we get back up, you one day of being sleepy. You can do one day. You know, you can have one day of being sleepy. I'll have one day to really spiral in paranoia, and then we can start, you know,
getting back to work.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have time to take a sleepy little day anytime soon.
I think Matthew and Willow have basically taken over the town, so I think we can retire.
I don't know about fully retire for me, but we'll see.
All right, so all of you start climbing. So you manage to chase this dragon trail or, stone worm trail through the chamber to a place where it hits the wall and starts spiraling up. You can see fallen stones where this is like clearly kind of like new. These are like smooth, uneroded, undust covered stones that are cutting up as you start walking your way up. So as you climb, this takes a long time, right? This is a long journey up as you make your way up. Is there anything else anyone wants to do before we cut to you guys walking for a long time?
I'm done.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
I mean, I can't think of anything.
I think I'm okay.
All right, so the one brief thing I'll ask then, what's going through all of your heads as you climb up?
Fred is wondering if he made a mistake by telling the snake dragon thingy its name. But in most fantasy settings, if you know a dragon's name, it means you have power over it. I don't think Fred would know that. I guess I don't even know if that's most. It's one particular one I'm thinking of right now. In Earthsea, if you know the dragon's true name, actually, if you know anything's true name, you have power over it. But it's very helpful if it's dragon.
Juliet is thinking about the probability that Smoky Banks is here to stay and that she's never going to see the ocean again and she's never going to see the moons again and she's never going to see the twin suns again. Just all of that, existential crisis.
I was just thinking it'd been really funny if you had said, Juliet is wondering if Fred did the right thing by telling the dragon's name. If that was what everybody was thinking.
No.
Autumn is also, spiraling in a similar but different way to Juliet, but more about how all this stuff happened in Smoky Banks while they were gone, and Willow had opportunities to tell her and did not, and what that means, and what Lance being around and being a vested party or a vested interest in the town means, and all of the bad that will potentially bring.
Estelle is thinking about Matthew and the last couple times that she has reached out to him and trying to figure out what we are going to see when we get back up. And I would like to spend another fate point and reach out one more time.
Okay. I can't remember. Is Matthew capable of talking to you when we do this?
You said no. He just sends back or doesn't send back feelings.
Gotcha.
It's either he intentionally sends something back, I assume, or the last time it felt like he was pushing down his
Yeah.
emotions.
I see what you mean. Yeah. You get a palpable sense of tiredness. You feel yourself dragged for a minute as if made suddenly weary.
Does he have any of the fear that
No.
he had before?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So, as all of you climb your way up, what you see is very odd. The first thing you come to is a new cutout path through the artist's area. This opening that is here from this new path being cut through the stone seems like it is a lot less intentional in its placement, which is to say that it's just torn through the middle of a room basically. And as you come up, you just see hordes of these artists meticulously going through and listing out all of the damage to all of their stuff that has just happened. This was an earth-shattering amount of damage done here as they're trying to figure out all of these precious, timeless pieces of work that have been lost forever to them. Do you keep going or do you do anything immediate here?
I think we keep going.
Cool. As you climb up further, again, this is a less short trip up here, I think, to get to the village. It's still quite a long walk. But as you get to the village, you can see, again, this was not cut through in, the edge of it. It was sort of cut through, along an edge. So as you get up to the top, you can see, like, pandemonium in the town way off in the distance, right? There's, like, screaming. There's, like, the fountain has fully fallen in. The fields, like, the crops are, you can see, like, huge areas where this lichen is dying and, like, starting to decay. And it's basically just pandemonium right here at the moment.
Can I do a check to see, like, what the cause is?
Yes, you can.
If there's, like, a catalyst. +6.
What did you roll?
With notice.
With notice.
With
okay.
notice.
So, I mean, a mythical creature just tore its way through the outskirts of the town. That's pretty insane. On top of that, there is, like, concern over crop that you'd maybe be able to figure as you're looking out at this. And then I will say off in the distance, you do see a lot of, like, clustering armed guards. Like, those remaining soldiers there are, like, clustered in an area, kind of, like, clamoring.
Okay, and it seems like the worm has kept going to the surface through here?
Yeah, it did not stop. Yeah.
Okay.
What time is it at this point?
Evening.
So, like, evening of our second day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Estelle at least would want to keep going. There's too much that she doesn't know what happened with Smoky Banks, that she wants to figure out what's going on there first before we try to help someone else.
And also the worm continued to the surface, which I think is somewhat unexpected. So,
yeah,
let's keep going.
As you keep making your way up, the light changes pretty quickly as a great deal of moonlight is streaming through a hole that has been cut through the earth. The smell of being back on the surface is overwhelming, as you have smelt nothing but, like, kind of musty lichen and water and rock for 2 days. The smell of, like, growth and soil and plant life and spring air is, you know, overwhelming to your senses as the first wind that you felt in a long time brushes against your face. As you come to the top of this cave that's been recently torn through, you can see the ruins spread out around you. Somehow, by luck or by intention, the path leads straight into one of the, like, streets between all these ruins. And as you come up into this area, the body of this worm, massive and stony black, coils its way through the ruins, etching out all of these roads and coiling up into the sky. Now seeing in person, massive in a way that dwarfs anything else that you have seen. Stretching up as if you feel like it could, you know, bust through the clouds. So tall, so imposing, staring down at the ruins of its old life, its eyes burning green. And all you hear is the faint whisper, "I remember," as its eyes stare down at the life that it used to have. Frozen, high in the coasts above Smoky Banks.
I think we continue to Smoky Banks.
Like, was that not the ending line? I thought that was the ending line.
Right, yeah, I mean.
I think we get to see what happened in Smoky Banks.
Okay.
Like, we're going until we're done.
Yeah, you certainly can. I will say that's not a bad ending line, and I'm a little bit sad now that I did that ending line, and it's not actually the end, because it isn't actually the end. As you all look down at Smoky Banks, there is a little bit of smoke coming from what you guys get into it as the council building, and you can see a lot of people moving around despite the late hour.
Estelle starts running. As soon as she sees the smoke, she starts running down to the council building.
Alright, what about the rest of you?
Are there other fires going on, or just the council building?
Council building, I wouldn't say is on fire, smoking.
I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, that's a saying.
Yeah, but there's not, like, flames, roaring flames.
Okay. If there's no other smoking buildings, Autumn will go to the council building as well.
Yeah, I think we'll pick up the pace.
Yeah, I think Fred would follow.
Cool. So as you start making your way out of the ruins, like once you're coming down the path, you're immediately stopped by like 3 people who are armed like Lance, but are like people that Matthew has worked with in Smoky Banks. Once they see the whole group of you, they stop and go, "Oh, hello. Welcome back to Smoky Banks."
Look, I gotta get through to see my son. Is he in the building back there?
Yes, and we will come with you.
Fine. Estelle keeps going.
You don't have to run.
Why do you need to come with us?
One of them just like looks at you silently and goes, "Generally, it's our job to make sure potentially angry or disagreeable people don't walk in and start hurting our friends."
I give a very pointed stare at Lance.
Has that happened so far?
No, we're attentive.
I mean, has somebody tried to that you've stopped, I guess?
One of the like younger people looks at you and kind of smiles and goes, "No, we did the, you can talk to Matthew about it." As you all make your way towards the council building, you see the doors to like the city council building have been like blown up. Sounds dramatic, but they're not there anymore. And there's like clearly a couple like pockmarks from like fire that you would expect to see from like Lance's sci-fi lasers, you know, for lack of a better term.
Energy blasters, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that shot Juliet in the chest.
Are Lance's people following us as well, or do they break off?
No, they're following you. I will say they're currently all unarmed to your eyes.
I mean, that's not the problem I have with them.
So we go in.
As you go into the council building, you see that it's like pretty crowded. There's a lot of people milling around. There's clearly like I cannot remember the character's name now and I'm not going to look it up, but the person who does like the medical clinic is there like tending to a couple of people, and the council building itself, or like the council room itself, like doors are open and people are coming and going.
Estelle goes into the council room.
So as you walk in, you see, like, sitting down, like, on one of the tables, you see, like, Matthew with his, like, kind of head in his hands, just, like, sitting there talking to a couple of people. Willow is there, as is, oh my gosh, I forgot her name. What's your sister's name? Aurora. Yeah. Aurora, as well as Ruben, is also sitting. They're just kind of, like, sitting on the table or kind of around, just, like, talking to people as people come in and out.
Estelle, like, as soon as she sees Matthew, like, a bunch of the tension that she carried as we were getting closer and closer, finally, like, she feels like she can let her shoulders down, and she goes, up to him and puts a hand on his shoulder first. "Hey, are you okay?"
When, he sees you, he, smiles and, like, hops to his feet and gives you a hug and goes, Am I all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Do you want to explain to me why there is a impossibly huge stone worm that just popped out of the ground and is now staring down at the ruins in its Smoky Banks? Do any of you care to elaborate on what happened there?
Do you care to elaborate why we need an armed guard to be escorted through the city because we might want you harm?
Okay, now look, sometimes you give people jobs, and they take those jabs a little seriously, alright?
It's your moon's blasted mother, Matthew.
They don't know that, necessarily, and that's her, not all of you. You're sometimes kind of mean to me, alright? You seem angry at me right now.
I wonder why.
And frankly, I think maybe they should have asked before they let you in here.
Matthew, what are we guarding from?
Oh, well, I think realistically nothing, but, well, frankly, there's the potential of, and Lance, I am sorry to say this, there's the potential of Lance using this as an opportunity of unrest to try to have more influence in Smoky Banks than what we agreed to, but he wouldn't do that, right, Lance? And then there's also the possibility that, you know, whoever, I don't really think there's anyone left loyal to the council that, you know, is still fighting over it, but yeah, basically that. Also, let me introduce you to the new city council until we have an election.
Please tell me that you didn't hurt Grandma.
No, I did not hurt Grandma.
Thank you.
But also,
the
council's all alive. They actually surrendered immediately.
I mean, honestly, not surprising there. I mean,
Including Grandma, who, yes, technically, I did put Grandma on house arrest.
Okay, look. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't either. She was not happy with me, but, I couldn't play favorites in the moment, so she's on house arrest.
But no, the reason I ask is because there's little burn marks in the building. I don't know how bad this got.
Not that bad.
What happened, Matthew? Was this a violent takeover?
It wasn't like a friendly takeover, no. It was a decidedly forceful takeover. But
so violent.
Yeah, well, the council was, turns out, 3-1 gonna exile all of you and blame all of this on you. So we
who abstained?
3-1. One opposed. That'd be Grandma.
I thought there were 5 on the council.
It was 4-1. I may have miscounted how many people were on the council.
It's late.
It is late. And I've done a revolution recently.
You had a big day of running a coup and all.
Yeah, you're saying that with a lot of stink, considering, like it was kind of on account of us not wanting you guys to be exiled. And I will say, in terms of making our jobs more difficult, the giant worm, not helping. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying the amount of spin required.
This is the voice you use whenever you're talking to your mom and you're blaming your mom for something, but you don't want to be in trouble for it.
Quit it.
No, I'm not blaming her for the giant worm. If anything, I'm blaming...
You know what, Estelle? No.
Matthew.
I don't want to quit it. They've done a coup. I'm done. Autumn leaves.
Okay, bye, Autumn. The worm is there because we went down and, yes, we were trying to figure out what happened, okay? All signs pointed to the ruins. All signs pointed underneath the ruins. And we spoke to that giant worm. Honestly, if I'm going to be frank with my feelings here, wasn't particularly helpful in the end. So I think we're in the right direction because we're not putting our heads in the sand.
I agree with you. I do think, I will say, as an observation, I find it a little insulting that I can do a coup and still have had the less interesting and dangerous day of the two of us.
I don't know what to tell you, kid.
Next time I do a coup, could you not upstage me immediately? Like, is it an option for me to do a coup?
How about we do no more coups? How about we do anything but that?
I'm gonna level with you. I'm 2 seconds away from cooing Autumn's sister right now. And Autumn's sister just, looks at him and is just like, I'll win. I'll win. I'll win. I'll win. And he's just like, I don't want it. It's a tenuous relationship.
So, what's happening with the council? What's the rest of the town think about all this?
You see Matthew's face kind of fall, and he goes, I'm going to level with you on something that's going to be unpleasant to hear. The rest of the town doesn't care.
About what?
This. They don't care about this. Most of the town...
The coup?
Yeah. Did nothing, is what I'm saying. I think you maybe underestimate how absolutely sleepy and ineffectual our town was at handling the fact that it was extremely dangerous where we were living and people were going missing all the time and they were doing nothing about it. So no, for the most part, no one cares and no one's gonna care, but we're hopefully gonna work on that. Cause, as you said, sticking our head in the sand, not an option anymore, because apparently what's in the sand is that thing.
So that means that everyone is fine with the violent takeovers?
I'm sure if you asked them, they would say they preferred not, but I also don't think anyone is, well, I guess I did...
No one stopped it, or, tried to mediate anything.
A few people tried to stop it, and we tried to mediate first, I will say, we tried to mediate first. Council wouldn't hear of it, except for Grandma, who is, I'm sorry, under house arrest.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that.
Well, I know you're an incredibly stubborn person, and so I don't see why you didn't just continue that line of mediation.
Do you know what I've done the past 3 months?
You've been working really hard at keeping us safe from the wilds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have. I've had my friends get killed doing that job. I've almost died doing that job. And I am frankly no longer willing to do that job for people who are unwilling to acknowledge the reality of it. That's more time than they deserved. This took longer than it should have. Like, I don't not blame our current predicament on nobody. I don't go, oh, look, something bad happened to us, there's nothing they could have done. The council could have done better. They could have not stuck their head in the sand. They could have not blamed all of you. They made their choices. I made a choice in response. I told them not to. They didn't believe me. I'm unwilling to sit here and wait for something to get better. I don't think it will.
I don't think that they have to still be here, but I think that a different agreement could have been reached.
It's possible. Possible. This is the one that I knew how to do.
And I wish it wasn't the only one that you knew how to do. That's all. Where do we go now? How do we come back from, oh, right, there's always the threat of whatever the people with guns are going to do?
Juliet, there was always that threat. That threat never stopped being there. It's never going to stop being there. It's always been there. The eco-webs didn't get there entirely peacefully. If you remember the whole, like, lasers and walls, and there was, like, several fights over it throughout history. And that was at a place where we all, like, had infinite access to plenty of food and resources, and were deciding not to. We're actually actively in danger now.
Right, and I think that all of that time where we weren't relying on lasers was training for when things are difficult. That was practice, learning how to live together and work things out in a way that didn't involve people getting blasted in the chest.
You got blasted in the chest. That happened to you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Smoky Banks can be different.
And then you stabbed that guy.
I know.
Yeah?
It was not ideal.
I'm not saying this was ideal, but did you think it was necessary to stab Lance again? Lance, sorry. You know.
I did because I felt like I was about to die.
Cool. I felt like all of you were about to get exiled, which is as good as death, so.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the same.
Look, Juliet, I can agree with you up to a point. I think Matthew's completely right in this instance. Out there, if we didn't have a place to come back to...
I mean, Maul survived in the wilds for years.
Maul, in a really quiet voice, just goes, I killed people.
Yeah, I'm not Maul. I don't think you're Maul either.
I don't know that if I had a choice in it, that I would prefer things taking a violent turn to me being exiled. I realize that is past now, but I don't want Smoky Banks to become a place that just relies on force. I want Smoky Banks to be different because it was different for me. And I think that it was special, and I don't want that to go away just because our circumstances are different.
I don't think any of us want that bit to go away, but wasn't this whole trip for us going down and talking to the giant worm about how we have to change and we have to change our outlook and how we're handling things just so we can survive? I would rather the town survive. I hate it. I would love to go back to us being sleepy if we were in different circumstances, but we're not.
I guess I want to hang on to different things of Smoky Banks, maybe. I agree that we have to change. We're in a totally new place. We don't have moons. And I still think that the hospitality and openness is something to hold on to, even if that means that we're open to toad people versus, somebody wandering in from another herb. That's the part of Smoky Banks that makes it Smoky Banks.
Are you telling me there's toad people?
Yes, by the way, there's toad people.
Are they going to be in the town?
Possibly. There's an open invitation.
All right. Well, okay. I can we can make that work. I'm sure
we can take it slow. We don't have to immediately integrate or anything like that.
No, look, I mean, there's a large population of semi-sentient beetles that build structures for us, so honestly, toad people not as weird as Tetty, and Tetty's alright, so, you know.
Well, the Wilder Beetles can work on making things accessible to toad people.
I like that idea, and I'm fine with you doing it, and it's like, also, that's really not my area of, like, thing that I manage, but, yeah, like, I'm not suggesting that from now on, I'm gonna just, like, randomly beat people with a club in the street.
But that threat is always there now. That threat is always there.
That threat was always there. The threat was always there, alright? This is what I mean, is, okay, so I had to learn how to fight to keep Smoky Banks safe, because no one else was doing it. Now I know how to fight. I don't know. That's a thing that I know how to do now. And it was always something that anyone could have learned and organized and done. I just happened to be one of the only ones that did.
I think that actually doing it changes things.
I think you're right, but I don't think I did it, like, I wasn't, like, starting out when I got here, like, oh boy, here I come doing a take over the town and become like a petty lord. That wasn't my thing. But by necessity, I had to learn how to defend this town from the fact that it's always been under threat, and we've been ignoring it for a long time.
I guess where we're directing that threat has never been inside. It's never been internal.
Yeah, that's true. But it's also never been directly a threat internally. Like, they weren't going to ask you to leave nicely. You understand that, right? Like, that was not going to be like, you were not going to be told to leave peacefully. You were going to be forced from town as soon as you got back.
Right.
Under threat of violence, right? It was not going to be, please leave. It was going to be, you are leaving. All of you. That means Maul as well.
So they were going to shoot us if we didn't leave?
Well, no, they didn't have, well, they couldn't have, but,
Right, so I was willing to sit there and hash things out until we can come to a compromise.
I don't think they were gonna compromise.
Well, I can be very persistent.
Alright, I mean, sometimes, yeah, I know, sometimes, yeah.
I guess if the situation comes up again, I want to be there to mediate. So whenever you coup Aurora, bring me in first, I guess.
Alright, okay. Aurora just still leans over and goes, I would still win. Just so you know, I would definitely win.
Matthew, is there a reason there's so many people still here at this time of night?
It is a time of turmoil, and there is still a lot of restructuring to do from the new council. There's a reason that we took over beyond just all of you getting exiled. There's also the need for constant patrols. There's the need to be realistic about what of our crops have to be culled and what can actually be used to grow. Then there needs to be immediately organized more people going out and looking for food and doing research on what crops we might be able to bring in and start growing based on the plant life around us. And then there is also taking defense seriously and not just having it be me and my 15 friends that are willing to fight, but actually everyone, and training for all of these jobs that no one's done for the past ever. So, yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Great. I guess where do I need to sign up for things then?
That was going to be my question.
Oh, don't worry. We've already got really awful jobs for all of you.
Love that.
Meanwhile, Autumn, you rushed out as people were talking, and where did you go?
Okay, so if we don't take care of the artist people immediately, are they going to come ransack the town?
When you say immediately, not tonight, but it's going to be a thing that has to be dealt with somewhat soonish, yeah.
So they were not blocked off?
No.
They were not.
Okay.
Yeah, Fred kind of ruined that one.
Okay. Well, if it's not tonight thing, I think Autumn's not in a state to really deal with it. So I think she, goes and sits, wanders for a bit and then just, ends up sitting by the ocean in front of, Willow's house.
Not an ocean anymore.
It's not an ocean, just the lake.
Goes and sits by the big lake.
At a certain point, a big enough lake is an ocean. I stand by this. I know.
No, that's fine. I'm just clarifying that we're not in
Yeah.
Not Novathea anymore.
I'm sitting by Lake Michigan. I get it.
As you sit there, Willow comes up and, like, sits near you, but not, like, right next to you, you know, like, gives you some space.
She lets the moment stretch out a little bit, and then... So, how long have you been talking to him?
3 months, but I didn't know until, like, 3 weeks ago.
And it never crossed your mind that you might want to share this with me?
Well, I will say, he asked me not to at first, and at first I respected that wish, because I asked him to not tell anyone else that he was talking to me.
And you know that he did that?
I actually don't know that he eventually told people until we had already decided to tell people.
Yeah, except for me. You didn't tell me.
No, I didn't tell you. I eventually only told Matthew, and that was later on.
So, this whole rebellion thing, whose idea was that?
That's a good question, but I think you can pretty safely blame me and Matthew.
Doesn't make me feel any better.
It shouldn't. I wouldn't expect it to.
You know, like, there are ways to deal with this, Willow.
I don't know what you mean.
Violence doesn't have to be the answer.
I don't think it does either, but I don't also think that it is never the answer. You're literally carrying a spear. So, violence sometimes is the answer that you choose.
And I've never killed a person. And until recently, I've never threatened someone with it.
Is that the distinction that matters most to you? Do you think that people are incapable of being deadly threats?
I think we can rise above that.
I think we can. I don't think it's always up to us if we get to.
You threw Moon's blasted Marlin in jail. He was a threat to absolutely no one. Did he have a secret gun?
People are not do you think that threats are physical? Do you think that you're the scariest thing in this town because you're very strong?
Not necessarily, but do you think...
Not even a little bit! 3 people beat you. That's the problem. 2 people probably beat you. If Marlin can convince 2 people that you're dangerous, you're no longer safe. I don't care that Marlin is physically weak.
So how am I in danger? He can throw me out of town, so what?
You would die out there. You would die. You would definitely die.
You know what? It's better than giving up the means. I'm so sick and tired of everyone saying the ends justify the means. The means always matter.
Okay, I agree with you. I do think the means matter. It's why we worked with Lance. This could have been a long, drawn-out, bloody thing. Instead, it was quick, and hardly anyone was hurt.
Yeah, and now Lance has a foothold in our town, and that's going to go great.
That was always going to happen. Do you think we survive out here by ourselves with Lance being there and not our friends? Would you prefer the case where Lance is out there hunting us?
He's still not our friend! You act like he's our friend now because we provide him with food until it's less convenient for us to provide him food.
I would rather be providing him with food than be a question mark that he wants to exploit. We have an arrangement now. I prefer that.
We are a question mark he wants to exploit.
Yes, and he's a question mark I chose to exploit. This is a two-way street.
Until it's not. These guns. Can he turn them off when he wants?
No idea. Honestly, I actually don't know that.
Like, can he have them blow up in your hands? Do they have bombs in them? So we have bombs in every building around, in every able-bodied person's hands, that he could just kill off all of our defense and make us all his feudal farmers?
Okay, so if he did that, what would be then your response? Would you just talk to him until he decided not to do that? I'm confused. You're acting like Lance is actually someone worthwhile of you to be violent against. He hasn't actually tried to really hurt specifically you. He got in a fight with Juliet that he was forced to get into in an attempt to save his own town.
He wasn't, though.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
You died in that fight, basically. What do you mean he wasn't forced?
I could have chosen to fight anyone there, and I chose to fight a god instead of hurting people.
Cool. and you basically died as a result. What do you think the stakes are that we're dealing with here? Do you think that we're going to get through the rest of our lives being a friendly tourist town? People are dying already defending the town. That's already happened. You guys regularly risk your lives and got blamed for the town's weirdness as a result. The version of this where we get to be friendly all the time is gone. I know that sucks. I know it's not good. I agree.
But what happens when someone else disagrees with you?
It depends on how. If someone else tries to threaten Smoky Banks, internally or externally, I'll react however I have to. If someone says they don't like, I don't know, the color that I want to paint the door, I won't care. But things matter. We can't ignore them. There are things that people might bring up. There are changes that people might want to make that we will have to stop.
I understand you think that.
I'm shocked that you don't.
You say today it's matters of life and death, but it's gonna slip. And then it's gonna be matters of major inconveniences and death. And then it's gonna be minor inconveniences to you.
So what can people do for governance? Is there just none? Like, anytime anyone says you have to behave in this way, that's just automatically, we cannot support that. Why did you have to farm the way that you farmed?
We now have to deal with the threat of Matthew and his goonies having guns. If any of us disobey, he can just shoot us.
Do you think that Matthew wasn't a threat before? Do you think that he's only a threat now because he has slightly better guns?
He is an unopposable threat now.
He was an unopposable threat to you before. There's one of you, there were 20 of him. He was an unopposable threat before. You're not invincible to 20 people deciding they don't like you. None of us ever have been.
Now he is. Now he is. That's the thing. He now can take on 20 of us with just himself. And you seem to think that's okay because right now you agree with him.
I think that you're trying to make a point here, like this suddenly is a new crazy thing. Matthew has been, through organization and through force of numbers, basically been singularly defending this town. Sure, that's true. That itself is the threat.
This isn't a new crazy thing, Willow. This is what we moved beyond. This is what we were when our planet died.
No, I think what we were when our planet died was reckless with how we treated our environment, not internally struggling.
Yeah, because relentless capitalism is about just doing the best you can for yourself and not strangleholding everyone else and having your own little petty empire.
I feel like you're misrepresenting what both me, frankly, and Matthew did. I'm not gonna pretend like he was alone in this. Because what you're talking about is I have a petty stranglehold on this town, not just Matthew. Me and Matthew were actually pretty on the same page. If anyone, you should be worried about your sister who was, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. I should be blaming all of you.
Yeah, you should. That includes me. The petty lord of Smoky Banks now, because apparently that's what I am in your mind, a violent, insane dictator who's going to kill people for being a minor inconvenience. You can see by the obvious mob of people here to kill you for the minor inconvenience that you're having on me at the moment.
I'm not saying it starts today, but when does it start?
Are you just assuming that anytime someone tries to help, they automatically become a horrible, corrupted monster? You just believe that to be a true thing?
I believe when people seize power for themselves, it happens.
All the time? Like, every time someone takes power, they are necessarily a vile person.
You're not acting alone.
Do you think people had to just did not seize power to create the eco-herbs? They did. They absolutely did. And people died as a result.
That was not You are doing this with the most fundamentally morally gray person I have ever met in my entire life. I have read about villains in my books.
He's not from a book!
That are less bad.
In what?
Juliet tried to talk to Lance, and he said killing you is easier. And then
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Lance is a super nice guy, but he is also not a character from a book, and also is not killing people because it is fun for a narrative. It's not why he's done anything that he's done.
Well, it'll be nice to know that when he kills me, it's for a purpose and not just for a fun narrative. That'll be real assuring as I'm bleeding out.
Yeah, well, I don't think it would be, and I understand you're upset, but I also think that you're deciding that Lance is a character from a book that you've read, which he's not. I'm not saying I agree with everything that he's done.
I'm not. I don't know why you're assuming that.
But also, someone having different morals than you does not make them automatically a monster. That's a true thing.
I don't think it's that people have different morals. I think that Lance doesn't have them, and all he cares about is himself surviving.
No, he doesn't care at all about himself surviving. He could care less about... Next time you talk to him, ask him how much he cares about. Did you threaten to kill him while you were down there?
I did.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. What was his response to that?
He said it would be inconvenient for me. Just like you did.
Lance doesn't kill people for fun. He kills people when he thinks it'll protect his people. I don't, and I frankly, yes, agree. He's not a nice person, and he has probably lived a life that has made him the way that he is. I understand you can't see past that for the fact that he lives close to us, and our choice is to work...
He killed my friend!
Okay, so I guess give it these two choices. Do you want to kill Lance, or do you want to work with Lance? 'Cause he's here. He's not gonna go away.
I don't have a choice anymore.
You do. Okay, you know what? Fine, you do. We're well armed right now. Do you want me to try to kill Lance?
No.
Would it be convenient for you?
I don't know.
'Cause he's here. So you get to choose now if he's bad enough that you want to kill him, or if you want to get over yourself and deal with the fact that he's here to stay.
Fine.
I don't think we should kill him. He hasn't done anything to deserve it.
I don't either, but that doesn't mean I want him influencing our town.
What does If he can convince us, he could have always convinced us. Do you understand? Like, if you don't want him to be able to influence the town, then you have to, by force, kick him out of the town. Be my guest.
The damage is already done, Willow.
The damage was done the minute we got here. Unless you want to, by force, keep him out of the town, he's going to be an influence. We can choose to try to be on top of that, or we can let it happen to us. I chose the first option.
Well, it doesn't matter if I kick him out of town or not, because you'll just keep talking to him anyway, so...
Probably I wouldn't if you did actually murder him, but I don't think you're going to, because I don't think you actually think he deserves that.
I mean, if he's dead, I can't.
That's what I'm saying. If you want people to stop talking to him, kill him. Otherwise, he was always going to be here. Frankly, because of you guys, you could have left him dead. Juliet didn't. Now he's here to stay. Now we get to deal with him. If you didn't want to deal with him, you shouldn't have brought him back from the dead through some weird magic I don't even understand. But you did, so now he's here. That meant inviting him in. There's no version of this where you bring him back from the dead and he disappears into the ether. He's here to stay, now we get to deal with him.
Fine, you win. I'm going to bed.
No, I don't win. I just get to be miserable.
Oh, don't worry. You've made that abundantly clear for me, too.
Yep, I'm sure.
So, Autumn stands up. She leaves the walkie-talkie and spear on the ground next to her. Have a good night, Madam Secretary.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Wanderlust. Music for this show is credited down below. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links in the description. Now bear in mind, in the wilds, some wander to get lost, and some wander to find themselves.